Let's go next to our caller from the 646 area code. Who's calling today from 646?
Hey, David, this is Chris. How you doing?
Hey, Chris, how are you?
Good. So this is in response to your "Hey Trumpists, just tell me the truth" video,
Okay.
which sort of felt like a call to arms almost for Donald Trump supporters to sort of admit that he's a racist. Is that a correct assumption of the thesis of the video?
No, I mean, the point was not so much to get the Trumpists to admit that Trump is a racist, but it's more importantly, it wasn't to every Trumpist. I was not implying every Trumpist is racist, but the ones who are should just say, yeah, I like Trump's xenophobic rhetoric. Just tell me,
Right. So sort of what I'm going at is that it's been a really common strategy among the Democrats to label their opposition as racist. And my fear is that this is sort of going to fall under deaf ears. Like, you use the word fatigue. I think that's the perfect word to use in this situation as well. So basically, my question is, can the Democrats win on a platform of labeling their opposition as racist, or will this fall under deaf ears for the moderates?
Yeah, so I disagree with the premise of your question, because I've not seen any of the candidates currently running for the 2020 Democratic primary where I could say their platform is to call Trump and his supporters racist. So in that sense, I reject the sort of foundation of your question. That being said, I do think that you are correctly pointing out that merely alleging racism is not a political strategy, and that you need to be able to connect with voters on more than that, particularly because there are lots of racist and xenophobic voters. So this is sort of my point. You and I, we may disagree on the degree to which calling people racist is Democratic strategy, but it sounds like you and I agree that it is not a good political strategy to the extent that anyone is employing it.
Right. Well, even like with Kamala Harris, she really heavily went after Joe Biden over the bus issue.
Yeah.
Where it felt like that was sort of the central point of what she was trying to accomplish through the debates.
Yeah, it was
saying,
totally calculated,
like,
and it worked in terms of optics, but it was clear that it was a complete calculation that had been made ahead of time.
Right, but don't you agree that the candidates, like, if you look at their Twitter, I remember yesterday, Bernie Sanders is like, we must admit that we have a xenophobic and racist president, blah, blah, blah. This is a very common thing we're seeing more and more of, and I'm just worried that that's going to alienate the moderates.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's going to alienate the racists for sure. And I think you're right that if there is a sort of swayable middle in terms of the election, if all they feel like they're seeing from candidates is allegations that Trump is racist, it's not going to be particularly good. But to be clear, my message on, I think it was Monday, maybe it was Tuesday. My message was not about running a campaign about Trump is a racist. It's I would just respect Trumpists who are xenophobic and racist much more if they came clean about why they like Trump instead of couching it as economic or trade policy or whatever else. That's all it was. It was not by any means suggesting Democrats run a campaign based on Trump is racist.
Right, but it's also hard for people to understand that because every single speech that Trump does, he talks about how good the economy is doing for marginalized groups like Black people and Latino people.
Yes.
So on one ear, they're hearing people saying that their candidate is a racist, but then on their other ear, they're hearing the candidate himself talk about how good the lives of Black people and Latino people are. So it's confusing.
Well, that's the case in politics all the time. The debt is up, the debt is down. The deficit is up, the deficit is down. We're winning the war in Iraq. We never should have been in Iraq. I mean, that's not particularly new. The fact that voters are hearing literally opposite stories from different people in politics, that's politics.
Right. So what you're saying is, I guess the thesis of what I was asking was, do you think this could alienate moderates? And you're saying I'm working on a false premise.
Could what alienate? Well, you said, do I think that Democrats running on Trump is racist could alienate moderates? My response was, I don't really think any candidate is running on that, although candidates are talking about Trump's xenophobia.
Okay, great. I mean, I completely disagree, but thanks for having the conversation about it.
All right, Chris, appreciate the call. Thank you so much.